Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Tim from Commonwealth, and great to see familiar faces here. Let us just get ourselves organized. We'll kick off in like 60 seconds or so. It's nice to see so many familiar faces here, guys, and let's hope we get a few more new faces in as well, so they can hear about what's happening on Old Street. Looking forward to chatting to you guys. We'll be there with you very shortly. Yeah, looks like there's a few people starting to join. This is great. So this is just a regular, I would say, Commonwealth community update. It's an AMA. We shortly, recently, I should say, sent out a written community update, which was the first in a while. There was a lot of important information there, a lot of important updates, and I hope everyone had a chance to read it. But if you didn't, of course, we'll be covering the main updates as well here today in the AMA, as well as giving you guys, the community, the chance to ask questions. That's the whole point, isn't it? Ask All Street anything. Maybe we need to change the name of AMA. Just while we're waiting for a few more people to arrive, still waiting for Kyle also to join us. He is floating around Dubai at the moment. And Tony, who is of course, our lead of technology, and you know Tony if you've been with Commonwealth for any length of time. He is at Dev Connect with our other Dev Barris, and they are, trying to forge deeper relationships with some of our dev partners over there. So I hope it's all going well for them. I see Tony's actually joined us, so he must be taking a little break from whatever he's doing over there with networking. So for those of you who are new to Commonwealth, I'll give you the elevator description. So Commonwealth is essentially what is going to allow us as a group, as a community, to invest into early stage ventures together. We've designed and built the system which will allow us to get the same access to early stage opportunities that is otherwise generally reserved for VCs and prominent angel investors. It's a closed community. Commonwealth is a system to open up that community and make it about the 99%, not the 1%. And it follows first principles decentralization, follows first principles Web3. We are super excited. Why? Because we have a product almost ready to go to market with. And today we'll be giving some updates around the beta of the application, which is, of course, why we're all here. So we can get our hands on the application and use that to start going into these early stage ventures together. The road is long for Commonwealth, but we've already traveled probably the hardest piece. And now we're going to have, hopefully, the most fun and interesting piece for the next couple of months. So really looking forward to diving into that phase of the journey, of the adventure with everyone here on Old Street. So before we get started today, I just wanted to make sure that everyone's aware there is going to be a competition running during this session. So anybody who has a question, obviously just put your question in the comments on the event, on the spaces right now, and your questions will be screened by our team, and the best question in there will win a prize. And we will announce the prize and also the winner towards the end of the session. But for anybody who wants to ask a question to us or to the team, anybody who's interested about what's going on All Street, anything specific, I know there's loads of questions coming into the chat often. Just please drop your question in as a comment inside the spaces room, and they will be screened, and we will we'll announce the winner of the best question. So make them good questions, please. Great. And yeah, welcome everybody. Great to have you here. As I mentioned, Tony is floating around Istanbul. Tony's the lead of the technology side of the project and has been leading Commonwealth pretty much since day one. And Kyle, as you know, is one of the founders and core contributors to Commonwealth. That's Kyle Chassé. He's floating around in Dubai. There's been obviously a lot going on in Dubai in the last couple of weeks. and Kyle has been there, and you've probably seen him on some of his shows or some other people's shows as well, talking about what's going on in crypto. Things are starting to heat up, starting to warm up, and yeah, Kyle is front and center, obviously, in the mix, trying to lead everything that is positive around crypto and blockchain. And of course, Commonwealth is, probably one of the most interesting and good news stories about crypto. And we hope that it's, the biggest talking point of the coming cycle. That's anyway our objective, and Kyle shares that objective, and that's why he's over there in Dubai meeting lots of people. We'll get an update from Kyle very, very shortly. I'd like to also introduce Dominic Moore. Dominic is here on the call. He will introduce himself as well. He's new to Commonwealth, relatively new. He's been with us close on 2 months now, or actually a little bit more, so just over 8 weeks. And I'll let Dom introduce himself. He's got an exceptional background and skill set, and importantly, those are the skills and experience that we believe Commonwealth needs in order to, maximize and optimize the next phase of the journey. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask Dominic to unmute himself, introduce himself, and we'll take it from there. Kyle, thanks for being patient. You're up after Dom. I will bring you in when it's time.
Awesome, Tim. Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
It's 5 on 5.
Great, cool. Yeah, great to be with everyone. It's been awesome to get in amongst the Commonwealth community. So yeah, been kind of more in the background for the last couple of months. So it's now about time to join the throng. So first part of my career, I was actually working sort of digital transformation consultancies. Some of you might have heard of WPP or Omnicom, Interpublic. These are sort of big multi-billion sort of public companies. When I worked there, I was sort of strategizing and executing global marketing campaigns, digital transformation for companies, like Unilever, the largest commercial TV station in the UK, ITV. I also advised the British government, kind of helping them on some of their recruitment strategies for some of the different initiatives across the country. So that took up a good sort of chunk of my career. I entered crypto in 2017. A lot of people started getting active, investing, getting involved in different communities. It was there that I crossed over with some of the Outlier Ventures portfolio. And then it turned out I actually knew some of the Outlier Ventures team from kind of previous experiences that I'd had. So they invited me to join the team in 2018 to kind of lead their portfolio advisory services, which is essentially token go-to-market and kind of execution. So those of you who've been in crypto a while might have heard of Outlier. They're very well respected for their thought leadership and the kind of the quality of the ecosystem that they built. So I had a brilliant time working with those guys. I helped launch Fetch.ai, an open platform for the new AI economy. Their token FET was listed on Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, many other top exchanges. And Outlier being kind of, I think if you look at the numbers now, they've actually been the most active investor in Web3 with about 221 investments. I think this is up to date as April this year. I think it's Y Combinator who in at second with 134. So some way back. Techstars is about 112, Longhash 72. In the last couple of years, I've actually was head of ecosystem at Flare Network. Flare's a layer one, the blockchain for data. Flare has 2 natively embedded Oracle systems that kind of enable a myriad of different blockchain use cases, like interoperability, DeFi, AI, gaming, social KYC. And my role there was working closely with all the dApp builders who require reliable and trusted data, and obviously all striving together to kind of bring blockchain to the masses. So my role there was a mix of ecosystem growth, which is investments, partnerships, marketing, developer relations. Flare, FLR, that was listed on Coinbase, OKX, Bithumb, KuCoin, Gate, Bitfinex, and many other top exchanges. So more recently, like everybody on this call, I wanted to get involved with Commonwealth because I believe we're kind of at an inflection point. And it really should become possible to be able to utilize Web3 technology to bring access to some of these deals that Tim's kind of mentioned. And that's kind of why we're all here. Why should they just be typically reserved for VCs? I really do believe this technology is about democratization. So that's kind of why I'm here. I'm very passionate about doing that. And it's been great to work with a team who are all very passionate about doing this too. I think it's clear, you know, Web3 and blockchain, it is a very complicated space, but if you have to boil it down, you know, I do believe that we're going to eventually live in a world where all the world's assets are tokenized, fractionalized, and, you know, value will be flowing in a kind of much more liquid fashion. We just kind of need the world's macro flows of liquidity to sort of catch up with the innovations that we're doing in crypto. But when you've got the likes of Larry Fink, you know, the CEO of BlackRock, who's essentially running the equivalent of the US government's investment company, and talking the way he's talking about crypto now and coming full 360, I think we all know that the long-term future of crypto is incredibly healthy and it's incredibly exciting. And it's been such a pleasure to be working in crypto now for nearly 6 years. So Commonwealth's model, bringing this access to early launch projects, is clearly a use case that I think is, you know, going to see a lot more people within crypto are going to start to really sit up and take notice of what Commonwealth's doing. And obviously a big part of my role is ensuring that all that happens for you and for everyone who's out there. So that's incredibly exciting. I can't go too much on this call in terms of kind of the go-to-market strategy because, you know, there's certain legal restrictions what we can and can't say, but obviously looking forward to answering any questions that people have for us on this call. So yeah, looking forward to hearing what everyone's got for us. Thank you.
So cool. Thank you, Dom. I can just speak from the experience I've had in the last couple of weeks working with Dominic. You know, I'm learning on a daily basis from this guy. So what a privilege to have you as part of All Street. And I can sort of vouch for everything that Dominic just said, at least in terms of the experience I've had now with him in the last couple of weeks. So exciting times ahead for us. I hope we can't do it alone. We need everybody here involved and to be an amplifier and a microphone. But just having said that, Dom, before we go on to Kyle, can you give us like, you know, because it's coming up quite a lot in the community chat on the Telegram. It's like, hey guys, you know, when are we going to start to see some traction, some marketing? Without going into too much detail, like you said, we're prevented from doing that explicitly, but give us just the headlines of how we should be thinking about ramping up and getting some traction in the next couple of months.
Yeah, good question. And thanks for everyone for answering these questions and keep them coming. As Tim says, we can't do this alone. Community is everything in terms of what we're doing. You know, we have to be very strategic, you know, and marketing is a very quick and fast way to waste a lot of money. So I think one of the things I always bring to anything that I work with is a real rigor and discipline about how we're going to spend this money, you know, getting really specific on what matters and what are the kind of tactics, strategies, things that we can do that are going to really move the dial and have the most impact. So that's kind of underpinning everything that we're doing and the discussions that we have internally at Commonwealth. So this is really, really, really important. With any tech organization, regardless, Web 2.1.2, Web 2, Web 3, Web 1, whatever, Web whatever, you've got to have product there. So a critical bit of the strategy is really getting a deep understanding of where we're at in terms of the product. Because at the moment we're kind of in this phase of where, you know, we're incredibly thankful to all the early supporters of the project. You know, you are all super early in something that I think is going to be huge. So everyone who's contributing, everyone who's asking questions, like this is massive for us. But the plan is obviously to really step on the gas once the product is ready. So this is why the beta launch for Commonwealth is this monumentally significant milestone. So we've obviously put out some details about that. A lot more details are coming in the next, you know, week or two about how you can participate in the beta launch. And then obviously that will be running for a number of weeks. And then obviously we'll assimilate all that feedback and then we'll kind of take a view on kind of where we are. So as I've said, aligning marketing growth with product is really, really important. I can say one of the other things that's going to be a really important part of marketing is how we tap into cultural. You know, it's about how do we, you know, the best projects, you know, have this vision which ends up sort of morphing into a movement. And I think that is particularly pertinent to Commonwealth. I think one of the things that attracted me to come on board was that you could see the team, you know, in terms of kind of the vibe, the aesthetic, what Commonwealth is. I think it's one of the few sort of projects in Web3 that really kind of understands that. So I think that's a key tenet of what we're about, what we need to bring into the market. We need to kind of get that edge. Crypto investing is different to traditional investing, you know, so we need to kind of think about how that aesthetic, that vibe, that attitude but then all the rigor that needs to go into actually being a very self-sustaining, successful organization. We need to bake all that into what we're doing. So I think, Commonwealth is very much about building this kind of larger cause for why it matters. And I think if you look at kind of the most successful organizations of Web3 to date, they're all very good at doing that. I can see we have one on the team from Animoca, for example, in the Hangout. I think that's, they've been a tremendous advocate for Web3 about what they do. So I think mirroring, some of the things that they've done, for example, in Commonwealth is going to be what we hope to bake in. We need to get kind of sharper on communicating kind of our values and what kind of change Commonwealth wants to bring to the world. So that's something we're looking at a lot as well in terms of our communications. I think, recently we just put that update out. It's kind of quite telling. I think we had over 500,000 impressions of that. That was our most engaged article. So I think hopefully you're going to be seeing over the coming weeks and months that things are going to start to sort of ramp up from there. I think the other sort of critical component, and a lot of project science don't understand this, hence why I said at the beginning, community is everything. We've got to grow, and you've got to bring the right people into Commonwealth. You've got to sort of go fishing for the right people that are actually going to be, end users of the products that we're building, not just sort of speculators. So how we do that is a massive part of what we're doing. And you do that by finding the right kind of partners, the people who have similar kind of views to what Commonwealth are, who have an audience. We bring them into our ecosystem, and we all kind of grow together as well. And then I think we need to get much more community involvement. So we need to be sort of opening up some kind of schemes and ways that people can there's more ambassadorial roles that can be kind of taken on, and we can kind of decentralize those and hand those off to the community to help us, because we can't do everything. So those are sort of 3 or 4 of the sort of key areas that I'm kind of most focused on at the moment, but happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Tom. That's super awesome. Really, I actually, I hope we're taking notes here, because this can go out as another update as well to the community to summarize, that sort of stream of consciousness from Dom, which was brilliant. I'm going to actually switch over to Kyle here. Most of you know Kyle Chassé. He's one of the founders of Commonwealth, and a lot of Kyle's outlook and experience from life and from crypto is actually, embodied in what Commonwealth is. Not least the hard-working side of Kyle. You probably, if you follow Kyle's YouTubes and things like that, you know that he's not shy to put out content. He obviously, he's in Dubai right now. He's been there for the last couple of months, and I just want to say that I've never seen somebody work as hard as Kyle. It might come across being very glamorous, being in the kind of industry that Kyle is in, as a kind of KOL, going to these events and so forth. But it's, I think, pretty tiring, and also then to put out content and also to build businesses. There's so much that goes into the daily work. I just want to say that, it doesn't go unnoticed, Kyle, and he's been out there in Dubai putting the best foot forward for Commonwealth and trying to secure some of these relationships and partnerships that Dominic was referring to in the strategy to grow Commonwealth and to grow All Street and to really have that impact that we all search for Commonwealth. So, hey, Kyle, welcome to the AMA. Can you give us a little bit of an update of what you've been doing?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Appreciate that. Yeah, no, being in Dubai and having parties on yachts and nightclubs and going to fine restaurants, it's been miserable. No, just kidding. It's been a lot. Like, and it is fun out here, but I've been working from the moment I'm up until bed, and yeah, like you said, really working on content. I think that some of our what Commonwealth can provide to projects that we invest into as a community is really the ability for them to have a huge catapult when it comes down to visibility. I mean, the thing I reference the most is GameStop and Wall Street Bets, and we're trying to reproduce that in the Web3 space. So so I really felt that as a venture builder, someone who's building different projects in the crypto space, I really need to work on making sure that my voice can be heard. And so if you guys have been watching my YouTube channel, you've seen it's we've gotten 20,000 new subscribers in the past like 8-9 days or something. So that's been amazing to see, and view counts have 10x essentially. So So that's great as far as us being able to, get out the word and attract more people. We've also brought in some other great KOLs that have even bigger reach than I do. And so one of the objectives is coming out here to Dubai was to build our venture network. And I've been a builder in this space for a long time, but really building relationships with other very successful VCs or angels was important. And we were able to build a lot of those relationships. And one of the things that we all internally knew, and it was kind of this. I don't want to say like elephant in the room, but we all knew, everyone who's been working on Commonwealth for the past 2 years, that, and it was also criticism from some people that we were talking to, like about how are you going to make sure you get the best deals in this space, and that ultimately all came down to the council. And I've gotten great deals before, and some other council members that we had early days get good deals. But it's going to be, in order to make sure that we're able to filter the best and have great deals that come into these funds that we create, we need a strong council. And so, I was able to build a lot of great relationships while I was out here, and I believe that we'll save this announcement, for the coming week or 2 weeks for the next AMA for the people that we've been able to bring on the council. But I can say that it's extremely strong. And we weren't sure if we would be able to get tier ones that would come on board in the earlier days. We weren't sure, but one of the things that I kind of always had hope for was that there would be people that we spoke to that would see the mission that Commonwealth is trying to achieve. And I think that there's a lot of good people who are very privileged, like myself and other people that really get great opportunities. We get to invest into projects in very early stages, and see very, very good multiples on those, which greatly reduces our risk and exposure in the crypto space versus people who are buying secondary markets and then are exposed to that volatility, and having potential losses buying after VCs have already done tons of multiples. And uh, so going on that gut feeling that there was going to be other people out there like me that did care about seeing the 99% have more opportunities open to them, that was what I was hoping for. And it turns out that we did meet some really amazing people out there, who did align with that vision, and want to help and are excited to help and be on board with this. And I think for everything that we've been doing over the past 2 years to build this really cohesive, synergistic ecosystem where really high quality projects, really high quality council, and really high quality community work together, where everyone wins in the situation together. And the more that we work, the better that we do. Um, that was really key in figuring out how the value is being distributed to each party that's involved in this kind of trifecta of value creation and opportunity. So yeah, we're really excited for the council. It's shaping up to be something very, very impressive when we are able to fully disclose everybody, being able to show the kind of opportunity and deals that they've invested into, and that's a good signal of the kind of deal flow that Commonwealth will be seeing as we start to open up our funds as well. So that's what I'm really excited about as well, and some updates. And I just like I think that as it evolves more and more, it's Commonwealth itself is a very ambitious idea. There's been one of the most interesting opportunities I had in my early days in crypto around 2015 was Bank to the Future, which Bank to the Future is kind of like the institutional version of Commonwealth in a way, but you have to be rich, you have to be accredited, um, and and it's quite successful. Like that's how I was able to invest in Kraken and Ripple and things like that. But I'm confident that the community, who are involved in the funds in Commonwealth, will get the same kind of opportunities, that will have life-changing types of opportunities in here. So and then it's great too. I just meet a lot of people that are more and more hear about what we're doing, understand it better, and are very excited about it, because there literally is nothing else like this in the world. Actually, there's Commonwealth is doing a lot of firsts, firsts of kinds. There's never been another fund where you have liquidity from day one. There's never been another fund where you can invest in it for 20 bucks. There's never been another fund where you can, easily exit a position of your fund. Um, there's never been a fund that has governance structured around it the way that Commonwealth does, and people are starting to realize there's a lot of innovation. And I think innovation, ideas, and timing are really important. A lot of the stuff that Tony's doing and that we have plans to do to make Commonwealth very, very easy to use for your non-crypto native is very important. And things like account abstraction and low to no or subsidized gas fees, easy onboarding with username and password, like the ability to invest in a fund with a credit card, for example. These are things that weren't possible last bull run and now are. So I think all the elements are coming together really nicely to make this thing very, very successful, and I couldn't be more excited for it today than I ever have been. So yeah.
Brilliant, Kyle. Thanks very much for that. Sounds like you have indeed been not just sort of sitting in nice restaurants over there. You've been busy, I can tell. Guys, for the council that Kyle's talking about, there's going to be, the target is to have 12 names, 12 individuals, like Kyle said, who share the same vision and the same values and have an outlook for the Web3 community that is more inclusive and more democratized and more decentralized, of course. These are, the names are almost complete. Already that there will be someone from Master Ventures like Kyle. Already there'll be someone from Metavest like John. We know already that we'll have Nit in there, who, reminding you guys, he works at State Street Bank in the US. Already there will be Josh Mayer from Andromeda. These are all names that are already on our materials, right? What you probably don't know is that we have already secured partnerships with Cypher Capital, and their main investment analyst, Karen, will be joining the Commonwealth Council. You probably also don't know that A195 Ventures, which invests in a lot of like top Web3 initiatives, they will be on the council as well. Ben Clark will be joining us on the council. Another really like great investment, iconic investor in Web3, Oliver Blakey. He was with Ascensive Capital. Now he's with a new venture called Paper Ventures. He will also be on the Commonwealth Council. Now, there's a few more names that we're finalizing as well, who will be joining the first iteration of the Commonwealth Council. And stay tuned, in the next week or so for those confirmations. But it's really, like Kyle said, shaping up to be better than we had anticipated and had hoped. We always knew that as this Commonwealth venture scales, as All Street grows, of course, then it's easier for really iconic Web3 investors to go, I want to be part of that. I need to be part of that. I love what they're doing. And of course, then whenever you have 1 million users, then associating yourself with that is easier. But at this stage, people are really buying in on a vision and buying in on the team and buying in on the product that we have so far. And that's what makes me even more excited and even more bullish than I ever was, that Commonwealth is a reality. It is going to change the system of investment in Web3 because we are getting this validation from key figures in the industry. So really, yeah, stay tuned. Looking forward to sharing those announcements very soon with you on the final 12, let's say, council members who will kick off Commonwealth when it's live. Now, okay, if there's no other questions, then
this space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
For Kyle right now, we'll circle back around in the end with the AMA section, and you might have specific questions for Kyle and what he's been up to out there. Just want to share with you as well, in the community update that we published, there was reference to All Street Beat. A lot of you here probably would have joined our All Street Beat episodes in the first season. We will be doing a next season of All Street Beat in the next few weeks. And that will feature the council that I talked about. Obviously, not everyone will be on every show because that would just be too much. But the idea is that this iconic council will come together and they will speak about what they find interesting in Web3 right now, what it is they're looking at in their day-to-day operations, and what their outlooks are for the future of Web3 from an investment perspective. So they will essentially be coming together in a kind of fireside setting and producing pretty much a Commonwealth outlook for the market, for investment, which is obviously gold if if you're new to this space and you perhaps, like Dominic mentioned, Web3 investment is a very specific niche. So this kind of information, this kind of insight will be absolute gold dust as we enter into using the product, live, and we start to actually form the Commonwealth funds and start having investors into the funds. So All Street Beat Council Edition, keep an eye out. It's coming very, very soon as well. Great. I'm going to ask Dom to come back in and tell us a little bit about the beta test that's coming up. Obviously, we're not going to go into deep details right now, but just if you can give us the high-level update there, Dom, that'd be great.
Sure thing. Yeah, as Tim's mentioned, we're not going to go into detail here, because the exciting thing is that we're going to have a dedicated AMA to this, which will be, as I've said already, in a few weeks. I just want to call out how this is such an exciting milestone, as I've said already. What has been particularly great, if you look at the size of Commonwealth community, the participation in the beta, we're up to nearly 270 people have registered an interest in testing out the product, which I can tell you is ample. So it's going to be absolutely fascinating to kind of get all that feedback coming through in the next few weeks. So I don't really want to go into lots of detail. We've mentioned already on the community update, the features that we're going to be allowing people to kind of play with. It's the registration and login, obviously. There's auto wallet creation. I know this is something that Tony's put a lot of thought into. Removing friction from Web3 products is such a massive, massive part of, being successful. So it's been brilliant, kind of the thinking of what we're doing here. I don't want to kind of release too much alpha on that. Obviously, there's kind of the investment piece. There's obviously staking. There's a whole kind of approach. We're thinking about how we want to manage the community and how that's going to come to bear. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see how that's working out. There's obviously the NFT connectivity with Ethereum. There's a whole load of kind of incentives and rewards that we're kind of baking in to kind of and gamify the whole experience of Commonwealth. I think this is another area that I think a lot of Web3 products don't really kind of, they think a lot about token economies, but they don't really think about how those really genuinely kind of weave into kind of the product experience that users have. So I think, improving upon the UX and improving upon that kind of incentive design mechanisms is going to be a massive part of what makes the product successful. And then obviously playing around with dummy versions of the wealth token itself. So all that to come in the coming weeks. So lots to look forward to. And thank you everyone who's already expressed their interest in getting involved in the beta. We welcome as many more signups as possible. And that's that. I think one thing Tim also asked me to mention, because there's been lots of comments about kind of bot protection and kind of how that plays into what we're building. So keep sharing all the alpha and concerns. We are paying attention. If you've been sharing that information, thank you. We're doing a lot of research into this. It's a really, really important part, again, of what's going to make Commonwealth successful. We do obviously need genuine users for obvious reasons. Bots are getting more and more advanced in terms of what AI enables them to do. So we just want to put the message out there to the community that this is something we are very, very cognizant of and taking extremely seriously. So yeah, please if you see anything or anything that you think is interesting, as you already are, please keep sharing them with us. Back to you, Tim. Thank you.
Thanks, Dom. So I'm reading through the questions as well in the comments. Thanks for everyone for sending those through. Reminder that we're running a competition right now. So whoever has the best question stands the chance to win one of our coveted Series 2 Commonwealth Genesis NFTs. So yeah, please dig deep, find whatever tricky, insightful questions you might be able to come up with, so that we can make this AMA high quality. For now, I just wanted to speak about, a lot of people would like to know more about Commonwealth and when the app is going to be live. Obviously, a successful beta is a milestone that needs to be achieved in order for the app to go live. Tony's not here right now. I mean, he's in the audience. I hear him, but I know that he's also moving around Istanbul at Dev Connect. So I'm not going to ask him to come here and field these difficult questions. There will be another session coming up around the around the beta itself, where there will be a lot of like detailed information given, and also communication will go out to the people who've expressed their interest in participating. So stay tuned for all of that. But once we have through the process of a successful beta, then everyone is pinning their ears back to go live, and that will be as and when the product is ready. That's the only thing that's holding us back. Obviously, you've seen the alpha, the working alpha. Pretty much everything is in MVP, minimal viable product. But of course, it needs to be battle tested. So that's the process we're entering into right now. After then, we can all look forward to having Commonwealth app live on your mobile phone or on your desktop, and connecting your wallet and going. So I can't wait for that. I'm sure everybody here is equally excited. Is there some, Kyle, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'll be ready. Just AMA. If people have questions, anyone have their hands up?
We've got a lot of questions. I was getting to them now in the actual chat itself, and there is one.
You can also just bring people on stage if they have their hands, if they want to come talk or ask questions.
Yeah, there's a few people requesting to speak. Connor, can you bring the requests up onto the stage, and we can get some questions for the from the community?
Yeah. In the meantime, go ahead and read off whatever you got.
Yeah. So the competition was actually to give us the best question. So we're just going through the questions right now to find the best question, and then we will answer that one live. So we're still running the competition, but yeah, let's get some people up onto stage.
Is there any questions that you have, Tim, while Connor's bringing them up?
I can take a couple here. Serena, our dear Serena, for those of you who don't know Serena, she is one of the most prominent All Street members. And just want to give a quick shout out as well to the user-generated content that Serena puts out. It is absolutely phenomenal. It doesn't go unnoticed, and CSG is really powerful in Web3. So it's just a question of giving it the right platform, which we are obviously spending a lot of time thinking about doing as well, Serena. So keep it coming. Thank you very much for that. Serena's question: I read recent posts that 12% of S1s, Series 1 Genesis NFTs have not been upgraded. Is there a deadline at which they must be upgraded in order to get the full utility before the protocol launches? Can they be upgraded or gain utility even after the protocol goes live? It's a great question, because it's very practical, of course. You will not be able to use your unupgraded, so the legacy S1, it won't be useful for you to get the utility once we go live with the app. However, you will still be able to upgrade even after the app is live. So if you wake up one day in a year's time and realize, oh my God, I forgot about that S1 I have in my wallet, you can still upgrade it and claim the utility. So the onus is on you if you're sitting with those to upgrade them. But no, there won't be kind of cancelled from the world when the app is live. There still will be the chance, and in fact, that's when we expect most people who haven't upgraded will be motivated to upgrade, because there's a material incentive there.
Chris, did you have a question? Crimson, unmute yourself if you can.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks, I appreciate that. How are you guys doing today?
Great, man.
Good.
Great, glad to hear that. Yeah, I just wanted to ask. So there, you guys, I'm sure everyone's heard of Linktr. It's like it's not a decentralized investment platform, but it's like a platform you can invest in startups with not being accredited, I guess, apparently. So they have like Ripple on there and like a couple other startups that crypto native people would want to probably invest in. But I haven't done it because it's like 2D, like, you know what I mean? It's not Web3 basically. It's Web2 kind of in my mind. So is that the difference between maybe not the only difference, but some differences between them and y'all? Thank you.
So I think that, so the difference between like a crowdfunding platform, which I assume I haven't heard of Link2 actually, but it's Link to with it. Okay, I see it now online. But yeah, so the difference is that with Commonwealth, it's more fund structures. So it's essentially like a managed fund, but instead of a centralized decision maker managing the fund, it's managed by smart contracts. And so um, the idea is stablecoin in as an investment into the fund, and then stablecoin out. So just like traditional funds, you give a fund, money to manage the money for you, and they give you not shares of the company back, but they will exit their position in those companies and give you a return on your investment. And so that is how Commonwealth is structured. We wanted to like venture investing is a very, very good business. I mean, it can be bad if you're horrible at it, but fortunately, everybody that's going to be on the council is quite good at it. So it's a very, very lucrative business. We really wanted to try to take something that works extremely well in the legacy world and bring that into a fully automated, decentralized version. So we try to mimic that traditional structure as best as possible while making sure that the value created from those investments and the returns, the profits, stays within the Commonwealth ecosystem by being redistributed into the token economy.
Okay, great. And if I could just follow up on that. So to make sure I'm on the same page with you there, also I did sign up to be a beta tester. I think that'd be really great. But so it's like say I go to a brokerage house and they like peg a mutual fund like $1 per share or something like that, kind of like that, but with this, right?
Is that my
Uh,
internet or his?
Did you? I heard the question, but I didn't understand it. Maybe could you try again, just reformulating it?
Yeah, my apologies. So let's say you go to like Schwab, I don't know, Schwab, and you go in and they want to put you into a fund. I'm not actually sure. Maybe it's a mutual fund, it's called something like that, but they peg it to $1 per like share in the fund. So like you mentioned, the stable coins would
Tim, can
like.
you hear? I can't hear.
Yeah,
Am I
I'm
wrong?
here. I'm hearing. No, I'm hearing, Kyle. It's okay. I think it's on your side. Maybe just check your connection.
I'll be trying getting off Wi-Fi. One sec.
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about is somehow a perpetual fund where they take a value on a daily basis, and then you can enter in based on the dollar value of your contribution at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a type of fund product that may be downstream coming onto Commonwealth. The first Commonwealth fund that you would see on the application is going to be a much simpler closed-ended fund. So there'll be a cap, and once the cap is reached, then that's the maximum amount of capacity in that fund, and the maximum amount of people have already entered. From there, those people who are in that fund, and this is the difference between Commonwealth and literally any other type of situation that's similar, is that everybody who's in that fund will have the opportunity to take their slice of the fund and either fractionalize it because it's an NFT itself, or they can trade it. They can do whatever they want. This is Web3. They own that. But now it's possible to do so much more, basically. So you might find if that fund is really anticipated, it's got some fantastic opportunities inside it, that slice is actually worth a lot more than the person paid for it, and they might decide for whatever reason in their life they don't want to they want to capitalize on that now. They're happy. They sell that slice, or they split it in two and they sell half of it. So this is the kind of functionality that Commonwealth is bringing, which is very, very different, of course, to how anything else operates, and it's all empowering the user, of course. Well, that's the sort of the red thread at every stage. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, fam. I appreciate it. That definitely answered it, and I'm very excited for this project, and I'm sticking with it. I hope that this goes to the moon and beyond. So much love to everybody.
Love it,
Thanks for the
love it.
questions, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Cool. So we've chosen the winner actually of the competition. There's 15 minutes left. We'll get to as many questions as we can. If we don't get to all the questions, then just bear with me. I see some questions on tokenomics. We won't be able to cover the tokenomics questions today, unfortunately. There is an update due of the allocation table and the emission schedule. That's all going to be in the revision of the white paper. So stay tuned for that. That is coming out. It's not ready yet. So there's questions around, hey, are the staking rewards still valid? Even though, TGE might not be in October, instead it might be, some months later. Do the staking rewards still earn the same? The answer is yes. The protocol will honor the staking deal because it's in the smart contracts as they were originally agreed. So there's nothing changing there. There will be adaptations in the allocation table to allow for that. So I think that's a question a lot of people had. So just rest assured that's all fine. Carl, did you want to come in?
No, just happy to answer some more questions.
Cool. Right. So here's the winning question. I don't know if the person is able to jump up and ask it themselves. Alexander Komarov, are you available to speak?
That's okay, Tim. If they already wrote it, because it takes a while for people to come on stage, for them to connect and stuff like that, then there's awkward silence of just waiting for them. So just ask the questions that are in the comments, and then if anyone else wants to come up and ask a question that hasn't yet in the comments, just raise your hand and Connor will bring you on stage.
Okay, this is a comment. This is a question for you then, Carl, because I know that you have the substance for this one. So Alexander is asking why projects will want to use Commonwealth. Why will portfolio companies want to be in a Commonwealth fund? And we do get this one a lot, so that's why it's been chosen as the winner. Alexander, please do DM us with your wallet, ERC20 wallet address. You have won the competition, and you will receive a Series 2 NFT. Congratulations. Now, Kyle, why do people?
Yep.
Why will projects care? Why will they want to work with Commonwealth?
Yeah, so I touched on this earlier, and I'll go into a bit more depth right now. It's one of the most difficult things around Web3 communities is how do you build an audience? How do you build a following? And this is something I obsessively studied in 2017 during the ICO market, and it's very, very difficult to do, right? I mean, you have to get KOLs, and science says that someone really needs to see something like 7 to 10 times before it sticks in your brain and you start to pay attention to it. So let's say that you're scrolling through your feed on formerly Twitter X, and you're scrolling through, seeing what's going on for the day, and then you see this project called Napkin or something, right? And like maybe it's by somebody that you like, just someone that you don't look up to so much or whatever, and you keep scrolling, and then you see it a second time, and okay, that now you kind of, it's in your brain, and you see it a third time, you keep scrolling a bit, you see it a fourth time, and now you're really starting to wonder, why the hell is this thing trending all over your timeline? Why is everybody talking about it? And so this essentially is called guerrilla marketing. And I know in 2021 bull run, there was some companies who offered guerrilla marketing services, and it was very expensive. Like either it was an expensive monthly retainer, or they were asking for a large percentage of token supply to do the service, right? So either, and these guerrilla marketing services were formed of predominantly like fake botted kind of Twitter accounts. And so it's not really effective either. The way that we've created the economy within Commonwealth is that anybody who holds a wealth token, whether you are a direct investor into one of the funds, or you're just speculating on the performance of wealth as a holder, or maybe a governance participant or something, you benefit directly from the success of all of the funds, because the funds have a success fee or a fee that's charged to them for the profits that are made in the funds, and that's redistributed through the ecosystem, and has a net effect of positively impacting the token economy. So every single wealth holder will benefit from these projects that are invested into by the funds, and inherently we all want to pump our own bags, right? So everybody that, when you're holding a good amount of in your portfolio of a certain project, you have confirmation bias. You're looking all through your timeline, looking for people who are making posts that are bullish on the project that you're bullish on, and you repost that or reshare that, right? Or you want to watch videos that reaffirm what your idea is about this thing. But you want, and then you're going to make your own tweets about why you're excited about it, why you have a big bag of this project, right? So this is just working with the inherent way that we work as humans, and the desire for us to have, confirmation that we're invested in the right thing, and that if that thing is successful, it benefits us directly. So with all that being said, that's kind of the science behind it. But when Commonwealth invests into a project, the entire community is going to want that project to succeed. And we have some plans too that we haven't shared yet. We're trying to finalize them, of bootstrapping the community. So, on Twitter right now, we've got like 9,000 organic followers, but we have a plan to grow that to, over 100,000 around launch time. And so what projects can look forward to is having, 100,000 people who are now interested in your project. So, project, Napkin goes and raises money from one of the funds that the council is represented on. And then there's an opportunity to comes to invest in that in Project Napkin. And then the fund decides to invest into it. Now everybody's excited to see that project succeed. And so not only are we relying on the inherent human nature to promote this project, but we also have gamified mechanisms built into the platform that incentivize with rewards, really high quality posts, videos, things like that. So there's a term of social mining. We have an aspect of social mining built in as well. So the most powerful thing for project success is, not only project market fit, but it's also community, right? This is why you have like Solana and XRP and Link, ADA. These are all like very religious, very crazy communities, and to get that community is really, really hard to do. But with just allowing Commonwealth to invest in the project, you're getting some degree of that, a large degree of that, from day one. And you're getting it for no cost other than letting a great project invest into you. That's going to bring a lot of value to the project. So this is something that us as VCs, we also want to see, right? Like, so if I invest into a project and I put $500,000 into it, and then I ask who else has invested on the project in the same round I am, or in another round, I want to know that there's other smart money or value add investors also investing in the project as well. And I also want to know what your strategy is to go to market and how you're going to be able to attract attention and your marketing. And so if I see that Commonwealth is on it, I know that that probably is going to have a lot of exposure and a lot of, has guerrilla marketing baked in, essentially.
That was, I would say, 10 out of 10 answer. I hope that, Alexander, you got the answer that you were looking for, if not more. And we have 7 minutes left in the AMA, so I'm going to start to wrap things up. Kyle, thanks so much for the response there. There's another great question. I think we might have time for just one more. So the question is, what strategies is Commonwealth implementing to ensure equitable access and inclusivity in early stage investment opportunities, particularly for retail investors who may be new to Web3 or crypto? And that's from 333 TPK. Thanks for the question, 333. You were in the running for the prize, by the way, but you just got pipped by Alexander. So essentially you're asking, what is it about Commonwealth that is providing access and inclusivity in early stage investment opportunities, especially for maybe people who are not crypto natives, maybe new or curious about crypto. Kyle, I know you mentioned already in your introduction, like some features and some aspects of the protocol and the application. Do you have it in you to give us another 2-minute response there?
Yeah, so I mean, there's no barriers of entry to get into this thing, so it's literally open to everybody, and that is large mega whales and tiny little first timers with $5, whatever, so as far as equitable opportunities, it's completely open, permissionless, peer to peer, decentralized, with no gates being kept. So that is the entire premise of what it exists on. And what was that? Let's see, what else was it?
Well, the noobs, people that are coming in, maybe crypto curious.
So okay, so I'll give you an example. I was getting my teeth cleaned at the dentist last week, and by the way, like if anybody finds it ridiculous when your dentist is asking you questions while he has your mouth pried open with tools, like picking around in there. I don't understand why that happens, but it's the most confusing thing ever to not be able to talk while the guy's asking you questions and having conversation with you. But yeah, uh, so he told me that he really wants to be involved in crypto, but he just doesn't know what to do, you know. And then he wanted, like, I think he got a little FOMO, and so he did like whatever seemed like the most common mainstream thing to do was, I think he put something like XRP and maybe a little Dogecoin or something, but then it dropped like 5 or 10%. He got scared to death and he pulled his money out. Right. So like this is a perfect example of so many people in the world right now. It's intimidating to come into a market where there's 15,000 different tokens that one could invest into. How do you pick the right one? And, you know, and then how do you not get scared to death when that thing in a volatile market where that thing starts to go down 10% in a day? You know, you just think that it's going down another, you know, it's over, right? Like your money's gone. This is terrifying for most people. You know, if you've been in the space for a while, you kind of understand it more and you understand how volatile it is, and that just as quickly as it can go down, it can go up, and vice versa. But you know, in order to remove a lot of those emotions, the need for a lot of deep research, and essentially it's for people who want exposure to Web3 space and to have some degree of comfort knowing that there's level of due diligence from successful, sophisticated people who are bringing opportunities into this DAO. You know, this is who it's for, and I have a feeling that there's 100 million people or more out there who are in the same position where they would like exposure, they'd like to come to the market, but like they don't feel they feel like putting money in crypto is more like gambling in a Las Vegas slot machine than it is, you know, making a smart investment decision. And so I think that the way that Commonwealth has been designed gives more assurance and a bit more user protection um, to to this type of demographic, this type of person, you know. And so that is a huge untapped market that we directly can address and hopefully bring into the Web3 space. A lot of people don't want to be full-time in this, right? They're happy with their day jobs, they're happy with whatever they are, but they do want exposure and they don't really want to take the time to learn. So that's we have a perfect product for them. Another one is everybody else in the crypto space who's not the few percent of us in the crypto space who get access to these deals. It's like, you know, the really good deals that come out there, it's very, very difficult, almost impossible for most people listening to this and your average person to get into the seed round or the private round of these deals. And so this whole idea was born when Master Ventures, when we were beginning to start to raise for our investment fund, and we weren't quite ready yet. We couldn't accept money. And so I put out a tweet and I put out a little video saying that we were about to, you know, we were in the process of setting up our fund and that we would start to be accepting capital from people. The requirements were minimum $100,000 and that you cannot be a US citizen. Those are the requirements, much better than most other funds, but that's still like a pretty high barrier of entry, $100,000. But this was in the peak of the bull run of 2021. And I had, in just like 2 days, I had $60 million of interest in this Google form I created to show that even though people who previously couldn't afford $100,000 now could, because it was the end of the bull run before things corrected, and they all had made $100,000 or more in the bull run, and but they also were demonstrating that they wanted to put that money that they had made into a structure that they thought could manage it better than they could. And so this product is really well situated for anybody who's looking to have access to VC opportunities without the need to actually enter into that career.
Hey, Carl. Sorry, thanks. I just lost my mute button there. Listen, there was some golden answers there from Kyle. I hope they did justice to the questions. I feel like they did. we've come up on the hour now, and I see, Alexander, you're trying to come on stage, but we've answered your question. Thanks very much for the question. Congratulations, you've won the S2. That's the Series 2 Genesis NFT. So just send us your ERC20 wallet address into direct message on Twitter, and you are on X, and you will get the prize sent to you. I want to thank everybody today for joining us, and especially to the people who asked questions. We've brought out, I think, a lot of alpha. There's been quite a few questions around security, how the platform is going to be secured. I think those are better kept for the next AMA, when Tony will be live with us and he can take us through the security approach on the protocol. And there's a few other questions there, a bit more technical, would be better suited, I think, for that platform. So I'm just going to take the moment to say thank you to everybody. Commonwealth is becoming more and more a reality every day, less and less a vision, and All Street is coming together. It's taking shape. There's a great mix of community, institutions, established investors, angel investors, leaders of Web3, all coming together to make Commonwealth a reality very, very, very soon. So next step, beta. Next step after that, launch. Let's go. And thanks everyone for being here today, and welcome you all into the Telegram to continue the chats. So thanks very much, everybody. Talk to you soon.